the last few days, I've tried to persuade my colleagues that it would be eccentric to change governments when we're delivering so much. I regret not to have been successful in those arguments, and of course it's painful not to be able to see through so many ideas and projects myself. But as we've seen at Westminster, the herd instinct is powerful. When the herd moves, it moves. And my friends, in politics, no one is remotely indispensable.
All right, the words from the man himself, Boris Johnson, talking to Conservative members of Parliament outside of the Prime Minister's residence, 10 Downing Street. He was accused of incompetence, also accused of lying to the public and to the Parliament about the pandemic and that party scandal. And then the tipping point, Bianca, seemed to be this Chris Pincher scandal. Johnson named him to his government despite being accused of previous sexual misconduct allegations. Johnson simply did not seem to care much about that.
We want to welcome in now former BBC Royal Correspondent Michael Cole, who has also interviewed Boris Johnson several times over the years. Michael, thanks so much for being with us. It's great to have you with us for this perspective on this story today.
Well, it's great to speak to you, Bianca, and also you, John. I must tell you, in 60 years as a journalist, as a reporter, I've never seen anything like this before. Quite frankly, it's remarkable. I covered 6 general elections for the BBC. I covered Mrs. Thatcher in the journalistic, not the equine sense, for 5 years. The Tory party has always been pretty ruthless, but the amount of backstabbing that's been going on, I mean, it makes Hitler's Night of the Long Knives look like absolutely a tea party in the park. It's remarkable. And of course, it's really catastrophic for Boris Johnson himself. He's going to try and stay on as Prime Minister. I think it's important to make the distinction that he's resigned as party leader of the Conservative Party, and now it's up to the Conservative Party to elect a new leader.
Michael, if we can, though, jump in real quick. Do you think he will be able to stay on? And, do you think that's the right move for UK?
No, I think it's completely wrong, but it's typical of Boris. He will, somebody compared him with a sort of a greased piglet. He's always getting out of scrapes and managing to escape. But I don't think he can do this. I think the Deputy Prime Minister, Raab, is going to have to take over. He's the Justice Minister at the moment while they sort this out. And this may be a beat for Newsmax, but you're looking at one of the electors, because I'm a member of the Conservative Party. After I quit frontline politics, I was able to join a party, and I'm going to be one of the electors, and I shall be casting my vote for one of the candidates who comes forward. Now, that, I hope, is not going to be a lengthy process. It should be done quite quickly. But you never know. I think there'll be a lot of resistance for him staying in there. It's quite interesting, if you look at this historically, in history, the political scandals in Britain were always sexual, and the political scandals in America, your great country, were always centered on money. I think that's been slightly mixed up in recent years, and there's a bit of an overlap there. But Boris has had his fair share of scandals. But I have to say to you, I think in some ways he will be missed because, as you said, Bianca, I do know him quite well, and he's very witty. And if I can just, I'll read you one or two of his quotes here. He's saying here, "My speaking style was criticized by no less an authority than Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was a low moment, my friends, to have my rhetorical skills denounced by a monosyllabic Austrian cyborg." Well, that was him on poor Arnold. And another quote, when he was mayor of London, he said, "The real hero of Jaws is the mayor, a wonderful politician. A gigantic fish is eating all your constituents, and he decides to keep the beaches open." Well, this is typical Boris style. He's a clever man. We have an expression in English, too clever by half. Perhaps he has been too clever by half. And his past has caught up with him, the indiscretions of the past. He has a sort of more or less portmanteau apology going for him. Another one here. I can only renew my apologies both to Her Majesty and to the country for misjudgments that were made. Well, he could have said that almost any day of the week.
That's true.
And twice
Michael, I
on
want to ask
Sunday.
you one more quick question before we part ways. You know, you talked about Boris Johnson in the Conservative Party. How much continuity will there be in terms of policy? Boris Johnson was one of the, I guess, biggest supporters of Ukraine, and that on issues like that and other important issues. How much continuity will there be?
I think totally solid on Ukraine. Two of the front runners will be Ben Wallace, who is the defense minister, and Liz Truss, who has a constituency not far away from where I'm sitting now. She's the foreign minister. And both of them have been very vociferous and harsh critics of the Kremlin. The Kremlin has put them on the sort of hit list of people who are not going to be allowed into Russia, as if they would want to go at this particular moment. So I think there will be no change in the policy there. It will be strong, steadfast, and forthright. And in that we stand very much strongly with our oldest and strongest ally, indeed yourselves.
The special relationship will endure, no matter who is in the PM.
Let's hope so.
No matter who's at 10 Downing Street. Let's hope so. Michael Cole, great to see you. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Michael. Great to have you in with that perspective.